Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show. Once again here in Las Vegas, and the boxing capital of the world. And you guys know that, to me, it's like so. I'm so happy when I get guests on the show. It got to do with boxing, that's my DNA, boxing. And I have my friend here, Jason Vincent from Nevada. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Hey, glad to be back, man. Always grateful to be here on the Joe Cortez Show, man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure because you fans out there know that I started off as a fighter myself back in New York in the early 60s from Spanish Harlem. And I grew up, like most of these kids today, they grew up in tough neighborhoods, and sometimes you get misguided, go the wrong way. I got lucky. I met Gaspar Indian Ortega, who got me started in boxing when I was actually 15 years old. I met him when I was 12, but I started boxing when I was 15. When I was 16, I won my first Golden Glove championship in New York. My first Golden Glove championship was so important because that was the beginning of my career. Being 16 years old, my brother Mike was 17. We both took the novice championship in Madison Square Garden, and we were so happy because I was being bullied when I was a kid growing up, and got into boxing, and boxing got me in the right direction and gave me a lot of confidence. So I bring Jason on board with us because Jason is now in charge of the amateur boxing. There's a lot of shows coming up this coming weekend, and has them all throughout the year, throughout the country. And he himself is now a professional judge and referee in boxing, and we're very happy. You can see all he got to do is take off his jacket. He's ready to jump in the ring.
I got the bow tie on and the blue shirt. I'm ready to go.
He's ready to go.
Put me in, Coach. I'm ready to go.
Well, Jason is so happy that you're doing what you're doing for these kids, and not only for the kids, but for yourself as well, because, again, DNA is boxing in your blood, too. So I know you love it, and you all want to be involved with boxing. You look good with the bow tie, and I remember when I was
straight, man. Do I look handsome?
I remember you're okay. I remember when Mike Buffer one day he came into the ring, I had to straighten out his bow for him. Somebody that took a picture went viral. Me fixing his bow tie in the middle of the ring. Mike Buffer, one of the greatest ring announcers.
Man, we got to help each other. We got to make sure we all look sharp in there, man.
That's right. But we have to talking about helping each other out. That's why we have you on the show. We want to make sure that we help you out with the amateur programs here in Nevada to get these kids on the right track, because you and I went to the same steps coming up the ranks and got involved with contact sport and combat sport. And it's so important that we're involved now. We're paying it forward now, helping out these kids. And I'm paying it forward with you, becoming a referee now. And we got some of the best referees in the world helping you out. Kenny Bayless, 20 Weeks, Russell Mora, Jay Nady, Robert Bird, all the referees in Nevada.
Celestino Ruiz, Robert Oil.
Yeah. That's right. And we're all like a little family. We were all together last week, and we're having a farewell luncheon for Robert Hoyle and Russell Mora and Robert Bird.
Yeah.
And so we had a little luncheon for them, a farewell party for them. And it was nice because, it's like family. When you get involved with boxing, it's like a little family, and we like to, let them know that we appreciate their effort that they put in the ring. Well, they always try to do the right thing. So we have now you here involved with the amateur programs. Now, tell me, you have some programs coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
Here at the Westgate in Las Vegas. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, what we have is it's our fourth annual Las Vegas Masters Championship. Right. You were there for our first one. We started at the YMCA over there on Durango and Cheyenne, and 4 years later, here we are. We're at our fourth annual one, and it's actually at the International Sports Center. Big, huge gym over. It's over there by the Silverton Hotel. Sponsored by Title Boxing, Douglas Ward and Title Boxing. We got the gloves right here. And what the Master Division is, we have many events coming up, but this is the big one, first big one of the year. It's 2 rings, 200 competitors, and it's 2 days. And the Master Boxing Division is something that USA Boxing made years ago. We have the Pee-wees and the Bantams and the Intermediates and the youths and the juniors and the elite. Well, they went ahead and made a Master Boxing Division. And what that is, that's any male or female at the age of 35 years and over and up. So we'll have people even in their 50s and 60s and 70s competing at this event. And
that means I'm coming back. We
want to get you in there. You say that every year, but we're going to get you in there. But
maybe next year when I'm a little younger.
Actually, we're going to get you in to give some of the belts away to the competitors that win. So
tomorrow, that'd be great. It'll be an honor. It's good to see these kids. They win their fights. Because I remember when I was doing it myself. It was a great feeling when you get to whether it's a medal or a trophy, whatever. It's so nice. Not only that, but it also builds up your confidence. Your confidence level goes up. Your self-esteem. You feel good about yourself, knowing that you can make it. Because a lot of kids sometimes they need a little guidance, a little help, and that's where we come in to help them get them on the right track. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Well, I want to add to what you had just said a few minutes earlier about boxing and combative sports, being bullied when you were a kid. And coming up, and your brother and Gasper Ortega taking you kind of underneath the wing and showing you the ropes of boxing and building you up. But I just had this conversation with my daughter in the car yesterday. She wasn't getting bullied, but some girls were kind of messing with her, and it hurt her feelings a little bit. And I'm not a horribly strict dad, but there is a standing rule in my house is everybody owes me 2 years of martial arts or a combative sport. So my son did it for about 8 or 9 years, Diego, and then he got burnt out and got into the school band and played the saxophone and all that. But my daughter is waiting until she got a little bit older now. She's 11 years old, and this summer she will start boxing.
Good,
we'll start
good.
boxing, eventually some jiu-jitsu or wrestling or something in there too. But some of those pillars that you just hit as far as confidence and courage and self-esteem and all that is something that, it's her turn to pass through that and obtain those skills.
Yeah, but, the most important thing is the discipline that comes with the sport. You have to keep yourself focused. You have to keep yourself training hard. And it's not given to you. You got to work at it. You got to work out. You got to do your road work. You got to hit the heavy bag, speed bag. It takes time to do that. An hour and a half, 2 hours in the gym every day, getting up and running in the morning before going to school or whatever. So it's so important that the kids continue to do this because in boxing, if you don't give it the effort, you're not going to succeed, But I told some fighters, they try out the best. Some fighters have it, some don't. But if you don't make it in boxing, you don't become a champion in boxing, you become a champion in life. And that's what's so important. That's why we like helping these kids. We know that all of them not become champions. All of them, you have eliminations. And you have maybe 50 kids in one division. Out of the 50 kids, only one can become the winner, But the other ones, the semifinalists or finalists, whatever, quarterfinals, at least they got a little confidence. They know they got to a certain level in life. And that's important. That's what we got to do to these kids. Show these kids that we can help and guide them and get them on the right track.
Well, I always say you're never a loser in boxing. Whether you train it, you work it, you compete it, you get in the ring and you battle inside the ring. I always say first and second place. I never say you lose in boxing because you're a winner by just getting in the ring. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it really is the truth. 1% of 1% get inside a boxing ring and compete. So you're a winner already.
I always say taking those 4 steps up into the ring, getting up to those steps alone. I've seen some fighters, even in the pros. I seen a fighter one day, they introduced him, and Celestino Ruiz was the referee in Chicago. They bring these fighters together, gave them the instructions. When they walked back to their respective corner, they went back, the bell rang, and the guy just got underneath the ropes and walked out.
I remember seeing that. I forgot Celestino was out.
Not even one punch was thrown. Not even one punch was thrown. But that guy, he didn't get a paycheck. He got suspended for, I don't think, 6 months or whatever. But I mean, it takes a lot of courage, to get to duke it out with somebody in front of you. Yeah. Not everybody can do it. So I remember when I refereed Mike Tyson on 8 occasions, and every time I refereed Mike Tyson, he had that look in his face. He would stare you down just by the way he looked at you. I remember one time I was doing Marvis Frazier, Joe Frazier's son, against Mike Tyson. When I was looking at Marvis Frazier, I could see the fear in his eyes that he had just, Mike was staring him down. And I was giving the instruction. I would look at Marvis Frazier, I look at Mike, and I put kick. 30 seconds in the first round. My instructions was longer than the fight. Yeah. 30 seconds, it was over.
He won at the instructions at the stare down. He had already won and intimidated him. I felt like he kind of did that with Michael Spinks too, even though it lasted a minute longer than that one, but a minute and a half. But yeah,
well, most of Mike Tyson's fights, every fighter knew that when Mike threw a punch, the devastating power that he had. I mean, when I was in there with him. Not fighting with him, even though they got a Joe Cortez, I fought Mike Tyson, a heavyweight. People think it was me. I was only a bantamweight. I weighed 126 the most as a professional. So don't confuse me with that Joe Cortez you see get knocked out by Mike Tyson. That's not Joe Cortez. This is the real Joe Cortez right here, a bantamweight. But anyway, so Mike stared on these guys, even in the amateurs. They said, hey, this guy, he was only 15, 13 years old, 14, 15, 16. He was knocking guys out left and right. So he did okay for himself. And I remember meeting Mike Tyson when he was 13 years of age. He came up to me, a little I don't remember him, but he remembered talking to me. He said, I came up to you, Mr. Cortez, and I told you I would become a fighter, and you told me to do things right, keep myself clean. I tried to do the best I could. I got some trouble, but because your mother took me under his wing, and I became heavyweight champion.
It's amazing how many kids came up to you when they were younger. I know Devin Haney was one of them.
10 years old. 10 years old.
Out in Mesquite, Nevada, at the Junior National Golden Gloves or whatever. But all these young kids that came up to you and now became world champions or something in the Hall of Fame, and it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's an honor for me to see these young kids make it, because that's why I like to talk to the young kids out there and tell them to believe in themselves and to give it all they have, because it's not sometimes of going in there and competing and beating somebody else. We're not there to hurt anybody. It's a sport. Some people look at it, it's a brutal sport. It is a brutal sport. It's a tough sport. It's not a game. You don't play boxing. We're in the hurt business. But actually, when I was boxing, I wasn't really trying to hurt nobody intentionally. I was just trying to win a fight. And that's what I want these kids to understand. You're not going there with bad intentions. You're going there with good intentions for yourself, to build yourself up to be somebody in life, somebody special, but not to hurt somebody intentionally or use foul, dirty tactics while fighting. And that's why we give them the instructions, and they'll learn from the amateurs. This is what you got to do boxing. The trainers will teach them the discipline to do things the right way. You can do this, and you cannot do it. You shouldn't do this. The bad things, like hitting low, or cursing out a fighter, or headbutting him, or hitting him behind the head, or hitting him while he's down. That's all illegal tactics. We don't allow that in boxing. And you well know it as a referee that you are now, and you've been doing it for a while in the amateurs, and now you're in the pro ranks, and it goes to show that you really wanted to do something special in your life, and now you're in the pros, and we're very proud of you.
Yeah, I made my pro debut 2 weeks ago down in, got picked up by the TJ, the Tijuana, Mexico Athletic Commission, Boxing Commission down there, and I made my judging debut, and I did the co-main and the main event, both 8-rounders, and then I'll be going back down next week and
March 3rd.
March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. There's 3 days. I'm going to do 2 of the days, and I'll be making my refereeing debut. Good, very excited about that. Some of the guys on the commission I've worked with in the amateurs for about 5 years. I've even brought them out here to Vegas to do amateur tournaments and shows and stuff, so they're real good friends of mine. Felt very comfortable down there. They were very welcoming and glad to have me down there. And another aspect, I didn't really feel they wanted me to come down for more neutrality down there. A different look, a different face, someone from somewhere else, and to have some more fairness and neutrality down there as far as being a judge and a referee.
Well, it's a good place to get started with. This way you break into the professional ranks, and you start from the beginning like I did. I started with 4 rounds and 6-round fights in New York City, and little by little you make it into the main events. And
they got a lot of work down there. I believe Tijuana, Mexico's like one of the top 5 busiest commissions in the world.
Yeah,
I mean, they have fights pretty much every single weekend.
Yeah, well,
every weekend.
That's where my mentor was from, Gaspar Ortega. There's a gym there called the Gaspar Ortega Gimnasio.
Yeah.
And that's where Gaspar.
In Tijuana? Or?
Tijuana,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
When you go there again, check it out, Gaspar Ortega Gymnasium. And he had me living there for about a year when I was younger. And Gaspar Ortega was a role model for me. I used to look at Gaspar Ortega like, wow, he was a great mentor. He has a son named Mike Ortega, who's a referee here in Las Vegas now. He was a referee back east. He's been here in Vegas now going on 2 years. So we're very proud to have Mike Ortega here as well.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about your up-and-coming events. Now, you got these kids. They're all, what ages are, what age range?
Well, for our amateurs that we start, you can start going into a gym as young as possible, 5, 6, 7 years old. But as far as competing-wise, we have the Pee Wee division that we start them out at 8 years old. And like I said, we have the intermediate, the bantams, the juniors, the youths, the elites, and then the master division. So I'll be honest with you guys, you can start competing at 8 years old, and I have people up into their 70s competing.
Wow.
So obviously they have to pass physicals and get checked out by the doctors and all that, and get their pass books and registered through USA Boxing.
And I would imagine those guys in the 70s, you must give them gloves about 3 times the size of these.
Yeah. Well, the master division, you do get 16-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
So you do that instead of having 10 or 12 ounces
Yeah.
like the younger people do. So you have 16, you have the extra padding in there. We'll have those this weekend with title boxing. We have blues and reds,
Yeah,
16
nice.
ounces. And then
These are what?
these are, I believe these are
Yeah.
16. I think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
16s.
Yeah.
I think we looked the other day. They're
Yeah.
16.
They're
So
16 ounces, yeah.
while we're on this, though, guys, I wanted
The 16
ounces. So I wanted to give a shout out to Douglas Ward and Title Boxing. They donated. I gave them a call up and I said, hey, Doug, I'm starting a program here with the Nevada Boxing Amateur Officials. And I'm getting gloves signed. I do all my practicing at Top Rank Boxing Gym here in town with all the pros and the Hall of Famers and the world champs and ex-world champs. And Doug sent me probably about 8 to 10 pairs of gloves. And I got, this week, I got Fernando Vargas and all 3 of his boys to sign these. I got Muhammad Ali's grandson, Nico Ali Walsh, to sign these. You see Kenny Bayless right here. Angelo Leo, former champs, current champs, people, Joe Cortez signed it, Robert Oil. But anyways, the money I raise, I'm making T-shirts too. I had the Manny Pacquiao Foundation donate some stuff to me for our last event in Vegas at the Fights of Fury. I had autographed shorts and shirts by Manny Pacquiao and autographed pictures, and I was able to raise up enough funds to get T-shirts made. I'll have State of Nevada LBC 49 T-shirts that will be selling for $20 at all our events, and then I will be getting gloves signed, and we'll do a silent auction at all our events. And those funds, those monies go for us amateur officials, because I still am an amateur official and I'm going to still contribute to that, so we can travel to regional and national events, because we're volunteers and we don't get paid. And a lot of these tournaments and shows, they don't pay anything at all, or they might pay half, and you got to kind of fund the rest. So these will go towards, and that way, like, I'll give you a quick example here. About 4 weeks ago, I went to the Silver Glove Regionals in Compton, California. So that was Nevada, California, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. It was all of us. And we had a few of our boxers lose in the semifinals and finals here from Nevada. And I was the only Nevada referee and judge there. Everybody else was from California. So to have more neutrality, I need to get more of my officials there.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't going to pay $1,000 out of their pocket to go out of the kindness of the heart. So if there's some funding there, I can get them to go, so we can have neutrality for our kids.
I'd like for you to explain to our viewers, how did you become a referee? Where did they start as an amateur here in Nevada, or anywhere?
Well, you know what you can do? You can go to usaboxing.org. It's usaboxing.org and get information there. You can reach out to Colorado Springs. That's the home base of USA Boxing. And reach out to them and let them know you're interested in becoming officials. There's email addresses there. They're on Instagram and Facebook. You can message them. You can get a hold of me on Instagram, West Vegas Vincent, and I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. But that's a good place to start. And when you go on usaboxing.org, say you're from North Carolina or Texas or Colorado, wherever you're from, you can pull up your state. They call it a LBC, your local boxing committee. You can pull up your state off usaboxing.org, and it should have everybody that's on the board of directors, your president, your vice president, secretary, your chief of officials, your athlete representatives, your treasurer, should have all their information on it, their phone number, their email address, anything like that, where you can reach out to them and say, hey, I have a little bit of extra time, and I'd like to donate my time to amateur boxing.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, really taking place, because we need more officials in boxing. You need judges, timekeepers, inspectors, referees, all these ringside doctors. We'd like to see more ringside doctors.
We need more ringside doctors,
more ringside doctors volunteer their time.
Absolutely. Especially after COVID, we've lost a lot of the doctors and officials.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we get them back again.
Yeah.
But there's always a room for doctors to get a start. If you're a doctor out there, or you know somebody, a doctor that may be interested, a good place to start. We started with the amateurs, get a little experience in there, and then eventually, as a doctor, ringside doctor, you eventually end up going to the professional ranks as well. So there's room for everybody to get in. That's why the amateur programs are so great.
You guys, it's so much fun. There's so much room for improvement and knowledge and growth, and there's clinics and seminars, and you can get out of it whatever you want to get. If you just want to do a few events a year and go there and have fun and help out, that's great. You're awesome. If you want to work your way up and follow all the different training courses and paths to move up, where now you have some real useful skills, and you can go to regional, national events, and they'll pay your way. And or eventually someday, a lot of us, you go up and you keep going up, and those doors open to the professional ranks.
Exactly.
No,
it's so important to get involved. At the ground level is good. That's where you're gonna learn a lot. Judges, referees, the timekeepers, inspectors, you name them. It's so important. I think that with the Nevada Boxing Commission, they're doing a great job. Also with the MMA, you have Jeff Mullins, who's in charge, he's the director of the Nevada Boxing Commission, the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And tell me a little about the MMA here in Las Vegas. What are you doing with them?
I'm an inspector with the amateurs in MMA. I did go down to Phoenix, Arizona during the winter here, and I got my ABC certification for MMA ref and an MMA judge. And there's possibilities for me down in Tijuana, where I'm licensed as a referee and a judge boxing to judge MMA. So I'm just scratching that surface. MMA is really where I come from. I'm a mixed martial artist. I've been training and competing here locally in Las Vegas. I'm from Las Vegas for 19 years. Judo, jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, and amateur boxing. My last fight, I'm 49. My last fight was 4 years ago. I was 45 years old at the Westgate Hotel. So yeah. So I still got in there. I still get at top ranking. I shadow box a little bit.
You still got a little spark of the old flesh.
Yeah. The guys, they're looking at me like, all right, yeah.
A little spark of the old flesh. Feel like you better come back. Yeah, that's good. That's good that you're doing that. But we want to see our viewers out there. We'll make sure you guys get to watch these amateur shows and support them. Any way you can, whether it's financially or with gloves, T-shirts, belts, and you name it. There's a lot of stuff that I need in the amateurs. And again, the officials and those in charge are really volunteers. They don't get paid for this. So the money that is made is not made, like Jason said a little while ago, it's not money for themselves. It's for the organization to travel, for hotels, for meals, for equipment, all of that that's needed for these young fighters. And if we want you guys out there, or anybody that will say, I want to make a donation towards the Nevada Boxing Amateur Program or the USA Boxing around the whole country.
The whole country.
We need help wherever we can get it. So that's why we have these shows on. I bring Jason on the show on a regular basis, just so he can share what's going on with the program, let you know what goes on behind the scenes, and what we're looking forward to this coming weekend. This weekend going to be a hot one.
Well, you guys look, this is where it all starts right here. For all the Devin Haney's and the Lomachenko's and the
Sean
Wilders
Porters.
and the Sean Porters and the Furies and the Crawfords and the Mayweathers, they started in the amateurs. Just like Joe said, Mike Tyson, 13 years old, came up to him. A young Devin Haney, 12, 13 years old, and his dad, Bill. Bring your dad over here, Bill. In the amateurs is where it all begins. And like I said, there's no pay-per-view money here. There's no WBC, even though the WBC does sponsor some of our amateur events and events, and so does the WBA. This is all grassroots type of stuff here. So this is where it starts right here. This is where the foundation is built. And just to add to the Masters event, because I know we're getting a little bit lower on time, you guys, another event coming up in 2 weeks. It's the third annual Richard Still Classic. Hall of Fame referee Richard Still. It's the third annual spring box off. It's a 2-day event. March 4th and 5th. So any coaches out there or boxers, submit get Richard Still's phone number and submit your boxers lists in. They'll take you from anywhere out here in the region. If you want to come out from California, Arizona, wherever, get your list in to Coach Percy Pride and Mr. Still. March 4th and 5th, Saturday, Sunday, third annual Richard Still Classic. Richard Still's Foundation Gym. It's 2475 West Cheyenne Road, 2475 West Cheyenne. Suite 110. It's sponsored by USA Boxing, and the bouts start at noon. So that's the 4th and 5th of March. So that's a quick turnaround right here. So if you're interested in coming out, it's a 2-day event. It's awesome. I've refed and judged there before. You want to come out and compete, get your list into them right now. They're doing matchups right now, pre-matches.
Yeah, well, I'm very glad that you were able to share some of that information to our viewers out there, because I think that the amateur program is really starting to pick up really good. Yeah. Thanks to you and your staff, of all the officials that you have, are doing a great job bringing these programs together.
Thank you.
I mean, they were not having these kind of programs 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. The last couple of years that you've been involved, you've been like a leader. You're making things happen, which is we're very proud of you.
Well, a lot of that is I I guess that's sorts of people tell me now I'm kind of an ambassador for Nevada and amateur boxing. Right. Grateful for that title. Never looked for it, but opportunities like coming on the Joe Cortez show and being able to go to Top Rank Boxing with those high-level boxers, they still all want to come out and watch amateur boxing, and the word spreads and all that. So you've been a huge mentor to me and a maestro, a teacher, and we're very grateful for the amateur community here, for Joe Cortez, for letting me come on and promote amateur boxing.
I met you about 3 years ago, and maybe a little bit more than that, and I remember you telling me what you were doing. I said, maybe I can help you out here a little bit in Las Vegas. Yeah. Eventually, what you do in the amateur, we could eventually end up going to the pros, and here you are a pro now. 3 years later.
Unbelievable. I got to pinch myself. It's been, I got on the staircase and worked hard, and, I went to all the meetings, all the clinics, all the seminars, all the pro conventions, the NABF, the WBC, the WBA. I went to all of them and just learned, and I was able to travel a lot around the country. I bartend at Caesar's Palace, out at the pool. I work 8 months a year, and I get 4 months off every year. So I use that time to travel around and learn and get my live referee reps in. Yeah. And it's paid off. Yeah, very grateful.
I hear that they're going to enclose the pools.
Make me work year round.
Have you work all year round?
I need my 4 months off.
Those are the 4 months that are cold, like right now.
It's early retire. Oh man, it's been snowing out here, man.
Last couple of weeks. Two or 3 days
for
of
pool
snow.
Weather. But even the summer. Remember the summer? It was kind of cloudy, and we had those monsoons all summer. And
it got kind of crazy weather. I'd rather take the weather back east. I'm sorry, I'm a New Yorker myself, but I got tired of that snow.
Too much.
I've been out here in Vegas now 31 years. I love it.
Yeah, too much, man. I'll take this winter over your New York winter.
Yeah, that's for sure. But so Jason, again, last week I had Carlos Palomino on the show. Carlos Palomino was a former WBC welterweight champion, and he fought John Stracey in Great Britain to win the welterweight championship in 1976. And he fought a couple of years and won and lost. He fought Benitez. Yeah. He fought Oscar De La Hoya in his last fight. He retired, came back about 7 or 8 years later in his career, and he took another shot at it. But then when he lost his last fight against Oscar De La Hoya, he packed it in.
Oh, he had to be in his 40s by then, probably, right? Yeah, he had to be in his 40s.
I think it was in 97, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, my God. And you said he was fighting back in 76?
It was 76 when he won his first title.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but,
he did the George Foreman route there.
George Foreman came back. I remember it was an honor for me to referee that fight.
Yeah.
When he fought Michael Moore and knocked him out in the 10th round.
Came that 1-2 right down the middle.
I was talking to Mark Reiner, former executive director, yesterday about the Michael Moore and George Foreman fight. Foreman was 45 years of age, and here he was fight Michael Moore, who's going to probably he's on the list for inductees for the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame this year, and he's the first southpaw heavyweight in the history of boxing. But anyway, George Foreman at the age of 45, coming back after 20 years later, and knocks out. He was losing every round up until the 10th round, when he hit Michael Moore with a short left hook and a short right hand, knock Moore down. Yeah. He goes on his back, and I started counting. When I was at 6, I said, wait a minute. 7, I said to myself, wait a minute, guy, not making it up. 8, and 9, I said 10. When I said 10, he was still on his back. I look over and Foreman dropped to his knees. He looked up there like, God, thank you. I made it.
When you're at 6, 7, and 8, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, my God, George Foreman's, are you getting like goosebumps?
No, I was so involved with my count, so involved in the safety of this fighter.
Correct.
If he gets up, am I going to stop it, or am I let it continue?
Right.
I said to myself, when I was at 7, I said, no, he ain't going to make it. I said, 8, 9, 10. It was a relief for everybody because he wasn't going to get no more pounding. He was finished. He was already taking a pounding for 9 rounds, and he made it to become the heavyweight.
It's like a Rocky movie, man. You're waiting for the Rocky music to play in the background.
Then I got into the Rocky movie after that. Right. I did the Rocky movie, Rocky Balboa movie. With
That's right. Well, was that the one with Antonio Tarver?
Antonio Tarver, yeah. It was an honor to be the referee. You guys can watch that. It's on.
Where was that? At the MGM? Was that where you guys filmed that?
Yeah, at the MGM.
At the Grand Garden.
Yeah, we filmed it. It was there 6 days filming that.
Yo, Adrian, I did it.
He did it. He was all excited,
Yeah.
And I remember I raised Antonio Tarver's hand at the end of the fight. Antonio Tarver won the fight, but Rocky was like the champion because he gave it all he
Yeah,
had.
and he was walking out
He
of the
walked
ring.
out like,
and,
he didn't wait for the decision. He said
walked
the
out.
people happy that he walked out with a heart of a champion. And to this day, people still love that movie. That boxing scene was one of the better ones in the Rocky
I
movies.
think Creed 3's coming out. I believe
Coming
Tony
out.
Weeks and Kenny Bayless,
Yeah.
and maybe Russell
And
Moore might be.
Russell-
Moore's in that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
guys,
think-
look for that. 3 of our referees here are going to be in that. Kenny
Yeah,
Bayless,
that-
Tony Weeks, and Russell Moore.
Yeah,
So,
that's coming out, I think it's March 30th, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, fans, thank you so much. And don't forget, watch the shows here. Watch the Amateur Boxing, the Masters Championship. Again, sponsored by Title Boxing. That's February 25th, 26th, here in Las Vegas at the International Sports Center. Okay, so thank you so much for being on the show and giving our fans all the information that's needed to keep them going forward.
Yeah, grateful to be here, guys. Thank you much. Appreciate
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you, Joe.
See you guys next week. Keep your guards up at all times. Remember, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up, guys. God bless.